What's up, guys? I can't believe I am being the bearer of this type of news, but I actually think that iOS 27 will be absolutely useless. Literally useless. And I will explain why. And I mean, a lot of you are most likely going to disagree. Um, but trust me, if you're in the same ballpark as me, you will agree. Um, Basically, iOS 27, it will be useless, because it's only going to be a upgrade to like this. It's only going to be a speed upgrade. Now iPadOS 27 might actually do something. It might do something. For Wi-Fi only iPads, but I personally believe that iOS 27 won't be really. It will be like it will be a tiny, like, if it's only going to improve the performance of iOS, then why is it that the iPhone 11 is unlikely to get this update? Why is that a thing? Why is that, you know, here's the thing. Here's the deal. This performance impacts the older iPhones a lot more than the newer iPhones. The older iPhones feel improvements way more. Now, I'm not saying the iPhone 11 is not going to get the update, but it might. It's a 50-50 issue, I believe. There's a 50% chance that it'll actually do something, that iOS 27 will actually be useful. But there's also a 50% chance that it'll be useless because there's the cut-off issue, I believe. Like, I don't really think, because, like, that's all iOS 27 is going to do. So, if that's the thing, if that's an issue, like, yeah, then you're kind of, yeah, it's definitely not going to do much. I'll just explain this to you. I will explain this to you. Is let's do a general search, right? Let's try iOS is 27 going to do, and what is iOS 27 going to do, and what is the odds of if you do that, you will be very surprised that I'm going to address a couple of these if it's going to give me the answer, I think. If it's going to throw the answer, I think it's gonna, yeah. Expected to be a snow leopard stot. Yeah, see, it gave me the answer I think it's going to. And this, if you take a look at this, this is not going to be a useful update. This is not going to be a useful update. And you can see, like, what is this going to do? Like, are you serious? And you can see that, note these features and compatibility are subject to change. They are pre-Apple reports, so, I mean, that's a good sign right there. I mean, they are subject to change. Hopefully this does actually change. I'm gonna. Hopefully, this does actually change. Because if it doesn't, then like iOS 27 is actually going to be a useless update. And not really something. I mean, I'm not going to be installing the beta on my iPad. Like, I don't think it's going to be that useful to update to iOS 27. I really do not think that because, like, performance, like, does it even say a chatbot? No, it doesn't even say a chatbot. And yeah, what's this actually gonna do? And like, this is not gonna be useful. This is not gonna be like very, very useful. I don't know, guys. Like, if you're on the same ballpark as me, please do us all a favor. Please do a protest. Do not install this update. I'm not saying like installing it like it's bad, but to protest, do not install this update if it's gonna be. I'm kind of like, yeah, do not install this update. If Apple sees if Apple sees this and they see that people aren't installing the update when it's supposed to be a Snow Leopard update to fix all these things, people are going to not make this type of mistake for later iPhones going on in the future. And you know, they're not gonna do anything like they're low to, yeah, like I find it like if the iPhone 11 doesn't get a Snow Leopard update, do not install iOS 27. Please just stay on iOS 26 because I really do not think this is going to be a very, very useful update. Like, what is it going to do? Like, if it's a performance Snow Leopard increase update, why is the iPhone 11 unlikely to get the update? You know, it just doesn't make any sense for someone that looks forward to these types of updates. So, again, I am sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I truly don't think iOS 27 will actually be all that good, actually be all that useful. I shouldn't say all that good, but I should say, like, it's going to be useless. And, Mark, if you're watching this video, Gurman out there, the Bloomberg, if you guys are watching this, please let me know if the iPhone like 11 will get this type of update. If you're like, if Mark Gurman, wherever you're at, if you're watching this, please let us know in the comments if you believe the iPhone 11 will get this update, because I personally find it extremely difficult to believe that this is going to be a good version to update to, or a very, shall I say, exciting or in performance useful update in the slightest. Because like if they're gonna drop the iPhone 11, put some crazy feature in the update to actually give a reason to do so. If you're gonna update, if you're gonna give a support, if you're gonna give support for the iOS 27, or it's supposed to be a Snow Leopard update, then you should be giving the iPhone 11 the update like you've done in the past. Please don't let us down with this update, Apple. Tim Cook, if you're watching this, please don't let us down, because I personally don't think this update, like, again, this isn't confirmed. This is not confirmed, as it says down here. It is subject to change. This is not confirmed information in the slightest, but if the iPhone 11 doesn't get iOS 27, it doesn't get the next update, but it's only a Snow Leopard update and doesn't do much features, not really a reason to justify cutting it, then what is going to be how useful is this update going to actually be? Like, is this update actually going to be all that useful? Like, I believe that, like, if it doesn't get the update, like, in the slightest, right? And there's no reasonable big feature in the slightest to drop it, then iOS 27 won't really be useful for, like, the iPhone Air and Pro Max and the 17 Pro Max, the iPhone Air. Yeah, the 17 Pro Max and the iPhone Air. Like, they're going to be, like, the same as the iPhone 12 was. They are going to be the same. They are going to be the same thing as the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus were on iOS 12. Let's just be honest. They're going to be the same thing as the iPhone 8 Plus X were on iOS 12. There's not. iOS 11 was already good on it, but iOS 27 is going to be like or like iOS 27. The only difference is iOS 12 actually supported the iPhone 5S, right? It was a very, very bugly, mongly piece of crap on iOS 11 is what the 5S was. iOS 12 got the update and it was so much better. Look, if the iPhone, if iOS 27 comes along and breaks that rule, the update is useless. As the iPhone 17, as chances are that Apple will not care about this in the slightest. If it's a Snow Leopard update, if the iPhone 11 doesn't get it, then it's like, it's going to be, then that tells us that Apple does not care in the slightest. And if they did care, if Apple did care, they would, look, if Apple did care, they would do something about this. They would at least, and like, there's no information, I believe, let's see, I believe Mark Gurman talks about the iPhone. I've seen Mark Gurman talk about the, like, iPhone 11 before, but I don't know about all these other rumors, so we'll have to see what happens, but, if you're a viewer, ask Mark Gurman what the iPhone 11's chances are going to be on getting this update. If you're Mark Gurman himself, then let me know in the comments if it will be if you truly think it will be supported or not. And if you're Tim Cook or any Phil Schiller, any other Apple engineers, please let us know. Or please don't let us down. I should say, you don't have to let us know because that would be like leaking your thing. But just don't let us down. Don't let us down by dropping older device off Snow Leopard updates because that's not cool. Okay, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Everybody's raving that this is going to be the best thing ever when this update really isn't going to be that much. Like, I have, like, people are acting like this update's going to be the best thing ever since, like, iOS 6, when this update would really not be very useful. Like, come on. So, again, I'm sorry to be the bearer of this news. If you have any other opinions about this, then, like, I guess you should probably leave them down below in the comments because I really would like to know what's up with this. I really would like to know what's up with this. And personally, if iOS 26.4 or 26.5 comes out with the new Siri, then there's going to be nothing extra to add over to iOS 27. And if it's only a performance increase and the iPhone 11 doesn't get it, then it's really not going to be that useful. And people rave about this to be the best thing ever when it's really not going to be. Like, it kind of makes me sick in my stomach. It kind of makes me sick in my stomach. This type of issue really makes me sick in my stomach because it makes me think that like people are raving that iOS 27 will be the best thing ever when there's a good chance, like there's about, I would say a 50-50 chance that it's really going to be not that useful. So we'll have to see what happens, but if iOS 27 doesn't do like anything other than a tiny performance boost to the newer iPhones, right? Like what's the purpose of this update? You know what I mean? So, all right, well, I'm sorry to be the bearer of this. Thank you for watching and peace out. Okay, so for those of you who think iOS 27 is going to be this great update for fixing and performance, I believe those people truly need to seriously get their hearing and eyes checked because they, like, however, for the iPad, it might actually be a different story because, you know, the iPads are kind of a lot better at handling this type of thing. Like, the iPad is kind of is in a much safer zone than the iPhones are at right now. I personally think that the iPads are way safer for in terms of iOS 27 and how exciting speed improvements are actually going to be. I personally do think that the iPad will be in a much better ballpark because I'm going to be going over this thing because like I think the iPads might just be in a much better position than the iPhones are. For the iPad, um, for the iPad, I'm only going to be really. I might only install this iOS 27 on my iPad. I'm going to explain the differences between iOS 27 on an iPhone versus I'm going to be showing I'm going to start off by explaining the differences between iOS 26 on an iPhone or iPad, and then we're going to compare it to iOS 27 just so you guys get a clear example of where I'm coming from, because iPadOS might actually do something, but iPadOS might actually do something, but iOS, I don't think iOS is. I'm going to give the iPad an 80% chance of actually being useful on iOS 27, but an iPhone is only going to be 50-50 of like being useful, being useless. So it could be, so like 27 could be negative, could be positive. It could be either or in terms of that. But the iPads, I think, are going to be great. So maybe they won't be. I actually haven't, as you can see, I haven't actually asked about the iPads. So if I try here, will iPad OS 27 do, and will so we do that, right? So honestly, only really good for the iPad 9 as well. So yeah, the iPad 9 has a decent chance of getting the update, while the iPad 8 mini 5 iPad Pros are unlikely to be supported. So what I'm going to see is that, like, and it's going to be a Snow Leopard update, with some new Siri features. So, like, that is a much better position. Like, at least there's one device that's actually going to get a decent performance increase here. like, at least there's one device here that's gonna, at least there's one device that's actually gonna get a decent improvement, a decent increase in, like, iOS 27, at least there's one device here, so that's actually gonna, that I personally believe is gonna, like, yeah. There's only one there's, like, at least there's one device, and there's the iPad, and, like, and then, like, other iPads are gonna be, like, gonna get some improvements, bug fixes. It's like, it's like a general update, so look, if you compare this to the iPhone, right? Compare it to the iPhone, if you compare it to the iPhone, like, you can see the iPhone is in a much worse position. As you guys can see here, iPhone 11, an unlikelihood, and then it's also going to be, like, prioritizing, like, as you can see, the iPad is a much better position than the iPhone is. As if you compare the two, as you can see, the iPad is in a much better position than the iPhones are. So, and that's probably why I believe that the iPads, like, yeah. Again, I repeat. Again, like, the iPad 9 will get a lot of these bug fixes. So if you have an iPad 9, I would say, I'd say at least do the update if you own an iPad 9, which I do. I'm recording on one right now. If you own an iPad 9, if you own an iPad 9, that's really where you're going to see the improvement. And some other Siri features and stuff like that, and improvements. And I would say that's much better off than the iPhones are, because it really, like, the iPhone's behavior makes my stomach, literally makes my stomach drop. Like, the iPhone's behavior literally makes my stomach drop, whereas on the iPad, yeah, I really, like, the iPhone, I really feel a stomach drop. I really feel a gut punch regarding the iPhones. But the iPad, I would say the iPads, at least they're doing something with the iPads. They're not doing anything. They're not really, as you can see, they're not doing anything with the iPhone, but they're doing some with the iPads. So I would say, if this becomes reality, again, I just want to say that one important thing before I finish it off with the conclusion. Before I finish this off with the conclusion, before I finish this off with the conclusion, before I finish this off with the conclusion, I just want to say, this is not confirmed information. That's the thing here. This is not confirmed information in the slightest. So the iPad, it's not too for certain, but as you can see, like, it's not, like, Mark Gurman might actually change. So with that being said, hopefully we see a difference in the changes between 26.5. It's good news. What I have here is basically, it's good news for iPad 9 users, or whatever iPad you might own. But if you're running on an iPhone, then this is terrible news. I wouldn't say like, if you are on an iPhone, if you have both devices like I do, please do the protest. Only update your iPad if the iPhone 11 gets dropped from a snow leopard increase in performance. If the iPhone 11 gets dropped from an update that should, quote unquote, increase the performance on older devices, then only update your iPad. Do the protest. Only update your iPads to iOS 27. Please do not update your iPhones. Once Apple sees that once Apple sees satisfaction with the iPads, but a crash in satisfaction with the iPhones, trust me, they'll notice. So I kind of wanted to make this video before the spring begins because I kind of wanted to do this before the spring begins, because, yeah, I kind of wanted to do this before the spring begins because, yeah, I kind of really wanted to do this before the spring begins because I am very unhappy with what the iPhone's going to do, but the iPads, you know, at least the iPad 9, and there's going to be some improvements in terms of that. And sure, Apple could also clean this stuff up. Right? They could also clean this stuff up because Apple could also clean this stuff up because if they don't, right, Apple could also clean this stuff up. So if they do decide to clean it up, then what that would mean is that for an iPad 8 mini 5 or like the older iPads, I guess you could say they will not, they even though they won't be supported, but yeah, this isn't certain. I mean, it could go one way or the other. Like, maybe we'll be very happy that the iPad 8, iPad mini 5, and iPhone 11, iPhone SE will be supported. Or maybe we'll be very angry that the iPad 9 will be unsupported and it's just going to be like the iPhones. And maybe it could go either or, but this, I'm just pointing my fingers as to what's documented because, yeah, if you think it's going to be a great thing, if you think iOS 27 is going to be this great update for an iPhone, then you either need to get your eyes checked, you either need to get your hearings checked, or you need to think again. Right? You need to look, you need to double, right? I'm trying to say is you need to do a double check on this. Like, you need to do a double check on this. Like, if you think the iPhone, if you truly think it's going to be iOS 27 speed improvement performance is going to be the most important update that we've had in iOS 6, then like, I'm not in iOS 6, since iOS 6, if you truly do believe that, but the iPhone 11 is not going to get supported, the iPad 8 and older iPads are not going to get supported, then what are you doing, bro? Like, you really look over the stuff. Look over Apple's history with like iOS 12 and the MacBooks and stuff. And if you look at the history, the last time this happened, there's only one category of device that actually did lose their support. It was the PowerPC processors. Let me assure you this again. It was the PowerPC processors that did not get iOS, or that did not get Mac OS Snow Leopard. Every iPhone and iPad did get iOS 12 over iOS 11. So you really need to be paying attention before you get all excited about a new update. Guys, please pay attention to this kind of thing before you actually get all excited about a new update, because chances are you're going to get all excited about it and you're going to absolutely hate the update. You might really hate it, and it's supposed to be a performance increase, and then the older iPhones don't even get it. So, guys, please pay attention to that before, please pay attention to that before you actually get excited about a new update. On the iPad, like, guys, really do pay attention to this before you actually do. Like, they both utilize, and for starters, both the iPad 9 and iPhone 13, they utilize both the A13 chips. So, guys, really do pay attention to this. I mean, if it's anything like, if they'll drop Intel only, they'll drop the non-M1 devices. If it is anything like, like, yeah, iOS 27, not going to be useful if it cuts that many devices out of the support status. Like, why do you think this is going to be a great update? It's really not going to be that good of an update. It's going to be absolutely useless, guys. Trust me. Like honestly, we would be lucky if this update were useful on the iPad fucking 9. And yes, I mean swearing, because that's the gut punch me and I'm sure everybody else is feeling right now. And I really want, and please confirm, and again, if you're Mark Gurman, please confirm it time again. And write that back in the comments if you feel comfortable talking about this in my comments. Or maybe make a new rumor about it. But if you're but yeah, guys, if you like you know what I mean? And if you're dealing with the the Macs, I mean Intel based Macs, like, come on, like the 2019 Macs, like the non-Intel Macs are probably gonna be ones to go. Personally, guys, I don't really think this is gonna be. Guys, this is not gonna be a useful update. So stop trying to say it is. Really pay attention. Again, if you're Mark Gurman, say so in the comments. Say so in the comments, guys. Like, come on. If you're Mark Gurman, please confirm this, but yeah, if you're Mark Gurman, please confirm this in the comments. And if you're Apple CEO, please do not let us down, because either give us the support or give us great shiny new features. Because if you don't, people are just not going to install your update, and I'm actually going to be encouraging people to not install that type of update, because what's the point of it if it's just going to just be that, if it's just going to be nonsense like that? Like, what's the point of installing iOS 27 if it's just going to be nonsense? I've used the iPhone 4, okay? I've used the iPhone 4s and iPhone 5s. I've used older devices like that for years for a reason, okay? They were reliable on iOS 6. They were reliable on iOS 10 and 8 and stuff. They weren't stuck in limbo like this. And when I finally do make the upgrade, I get told that my devices are not going to get a very important Snow Leopard update. So I hope you guys will learn from watching this video and not consider this as me being over dramatic, but actually understand the iPhone problem that this is causing. All right, anyways, guys, thank you for watching and peace out.